We are less than a week away now from the Starfield Direct and its counterpart of the Xbox Showcase. So, to pass the time, I went back and took a look at past Bethesda Game Studios E3 showcases when they were dropping a big game. That got me thinking, what can we expect from Starfield's upcoming showcase? It's interesting to hear all of the things that they have done in the past with these showcases for games like Fallout 4 and 76 and what could possibly be coming in Starfields. And what is up guys, Andrew from the Dead Men here, and today I want to take a look at what we can expect from Starfield's Direct. There's certainly a lot that could happen, so if you're excited, make sure you hit that like button and comment what you want to see from the showcase. For now, I'm going to look into the actual gameplay that could be coming, but with that being said, we have a lot to go over, so kick back, strap into your seat, and let's blast off into today's video. Starting off, I want to talk about my optimal time to actually view the game. Since this is a standalone showcase, I imagine it will not be 15 minutes of gameplay and then they just end it. They're gonna drag it out a bit with it being the big game for both Microsoft and Bethesda's catalog for 2023. They've done this before with Fallout 4 and 76, both getting around 30 minutes of screen time, but this time the situation is a little different. Not only have we been seeing gameplay on Starfield for the past two E3s, with 2022 getting an extended look, this will also be its own standalone showcase, so there's a lot that we could be seeing there as well. The problem for me at least is that these are both working against each other with a lot of fans who just wanted the release date. Since we already got that, I'm sure some fans will be tuning out so as to not get spoiled about the rest of Starfield. I'm also taking into consideration that we don't actually know the full scope of the game. Of course, we have heard a lot of different things throughout the years, whether that be through the new Constellation questions, at E3, or straight from Todd Howard himself during an interview. But to me at least, that doesn't compare to actually seeing it for yourself and to get a full understanding of what is to come. That doesn't mean that I want them to overshow the game either, because I want to experience a lot of it for myself when I can finally jump into the world of Starfield. I do, however, expect them to get into detail with a couple of different features which we will get into a little later on, but to answer the question on how long I think it will be, I expect it to be around that 30-minute mark. I believe this will give it enough time to help players grasp what Starfield truly is, but not enough time for it to absolutely spoil the whole thing. So we've gotten a rough estimate on how long it will be, but what are some of the first things they will show off? Well, obviously it is going to be the gameplay, but I expect them to give us a very early on experience of the game. We saw this with Fallout 4, 76, and even Starfield last year with its Crete gameplay. Even though we have already gotten that very early look, we never got that story introduction to understand why we were there and what was going on. I imagine we would go even earlier than Crete with possibly the intro mission to the game, giving us the full scope of what Starfield will be like in the story they are trying to tell. The big thing though is that I want to see how far they have come since the gameplay presentation of last year. This comes from a graphical and mechanical standpoint. I want to be able to look at the Crete gameplay and the one we will be getting and be able to say that it was an improvement to the systems of the game. This goes for all of the features like outpost buildings, spaceships, and even the little things like jetpacks. The first 5 minutes of the showcase will be a big part in my opinion because that is where we will be able to see how the story will play out, various improvements to different mechanics, and maybe some new features that they were holding off on showing. Moving past the intro, I expect we will see how combat will be handled in Starfield. Whether that be through the little mission they will demo or throughout various points in the showcase, I imagine we'll be able to get a good look on the combat systems of the game. This goes for a lot of the little things related to combat as well, such as weapons, movement, and maybe even how the loot system will work in the game. We didn't really get a good look at it during the E3 showcase of last year, but here they can really dive into it and show off what is going to make this different from their past games like Fallout 4. Like I said earlier, I don't expect them to show off everything when it comes to combat, but just enough where we can get a good idea of what we are going to see. Something that is almost certainly going to be a big part to the show is outpost building and spaceship crafting. Now, these were shown off to some degree during the E3 presentation, but not enough in my opinion. I want to be able to understand how they will benefit the game as a whole and what will keep players coming back to the outpost and changing up their spaceship. I mean, they should be able to designate a good amount of time to these features, with them likely being a big part to the exploration side of Starfield. Not sure if I've ever mentioned this before, but I imagine they will work in tandem with each other with kind of bouncing off of one another. Just think of it like this, you collect the resources you will use to build up more of your spaceship through the outpost system, and you can use that spaceship to fly to further galaxies and collect even more resources. This is just a little speculating on my behalf, but at least in my opinion, we'll be getting an in-depth look at how the outpost and spaceship systems will work at the upcoming showcase. On top of just spaceship crafting, how we will fly will take some time as well. I imagine we'll be able to see the little things about your ship that will fully define you as a player. This includes customization, how we can pilot it, and some space battles as well. This will go a long way for the future of Starfield and will be a good way to get to understand how it will be different from other sci-fi games out there. I mean, seriously, this will be a big part to the appeal of Starfield for a lot of fans, so I can't wait to see how it will all play out. Throughout the years that we have been waiting for Starfield, we have heard little bits of details on quest and quest design. Bethesda Game Studios has always been known for their questing games like Skyrim, Fallout 4, and Oblivion. Well, from all of the little things we have heard about the game, Starfield will be no different, but this time it looks like Radiant Quest will be getting an upgrade. For those who don't know what these are, essentially you would talk to one person, they would send you off on a quest to, let's say, find a piece of equipment. They would mark it on your map and you would travel to go get it and the quest is complete. These weren't really those great quests that Bethesda has been known for in the past, instead they would be like these little things to do here and there that you would do over and over again. Starfield is taking a different approach this time, with the game not only making the quest dynamic, but the locations themselves. Think of it like this, you will find an outpost somewhere on a planet, whereas before it might just be a person and they will ask for you to go find someone on a different part of that planet. After that, an entirely dynamic dungeon will then appear to you on a map marker and you will have to go there to complete your quest. During the showcase, I want to see what this will look like in game and to see how different it will be from the random encounters and Radiant Quest we saw in Fallout 4. I think this can take a good chunk of time because, to me at least, the real draw to Starfield will be how good the quest will become. Bethesda has always been about giving the player the freedom to do whatever they want and create the character that will shape your journey throughout the game. Starfield will be no different, with what looks like Bethesda going back to their roots and taking little things from games like Oblivion and developing them even further here. We actually got to see a good amount of this during the character creation section of the gameplay presentation, but we still haven't seen how it will play out in game. We can obviously see that it is a lot more in depth than previous titles, with even your walk style having a customization feature. In the end though, I think the big things that I want to see when it comes to character creation and how it will play into the role-playing side of the games are in its traits, backgrounds, and choices. Specifically in its traits and backgrounds, because even though we have a general idea on how they will work, how will we be able to utilize these in game? Take a look at the trait Neon Street Rat, where we can have certain dialogue options and better rewards on the planet of Neon. A good way to really demo how traits and backgrounds will work is if we can take a deep dive into one of these traits or backgrounds, so I am definitely expecting to see something on that. Obviously, this will also play into our choices in the game, with us getting the ability to use different dialogue options, so I hope we get to see it to its full extent. The role-playing side of the game is going to bring in a lot of fans, and it is almost certain we'll be getting a deeper look into the character creation system. This last one isn't really so much an expectation as it is almost certain that we will be seeing it. When we finally get the Starfield Direct, this will officially kick off the marketing cycle for the game. This includes giving us a few things like some new merchandise, different editions we can buy, and possibly even the Season Pass. Starting with the Season Pass, it has already been confirmed that Starfield will be getting DLC, so even though I doubt we will get to see what it will look like, I imagine that we could see a release date for the first expansion. I'd also wager that we will also get to see how many add-ons will be coming in the Season Pass, so expect something on that as well. To kind of go even further with that, it is almost certain that we will see what the different editions of the game will be, and specifically what we can expect from the Collector's Edition. We have already seen a Constellation Watch shown off a couple of different times. Whether this will be a part of the Collector's Edition is still left up for debate, but it is definitely likely with it being leaked a little while back. What else we will be getting in the Collector's Edition, I can't really say for sure, but they will definitely show it off in some capacity at the showcase. Lastly, I kinda just want to go over some housekeeping things so all of you don't miss out on your chance to watch the showcase yourself. So, on Sunday, June 11th, the Xbox Game Showcase will be returning at 10 AM Pacific Standard Time. While the length of the event has not been explicitly stated, it is speculated to be around 2 hours based on past events. The showcase will be followed by the Starfield Direct, which will provide an in-depth look into Bethesda Game Studios' highly anticipated sci-fi RPG. Although the Starfield segment will likely be a part of the same stream, there may be some separation between the two events. The showcase promises to feature new surprises and first looks from internal studios and creative partners around the world, confirming that there will be some new game announcements. The Starfield Direct will offer new gameplay, developer interviews, and behind-the-scenes information, with multiple developers from Bethesda Game Studios participating. It remains to be seen what kind of insider information will be shared, but it would be great to see a making-of documentary given the game's long development cycle and Bethesda's recent changes. As a fan of Bethesda Game Studios and the games they make, these showcases have always been a fun time for me. Just to be able to look into the games and get ready for the upcoming releases of their titles has always made me excited. This is no different and honestly might be the one that I am most excited for. Starfield has all of the potential to be that top tier game for Bethesda. They have done it time and time again, and this showcase will be a good way to fully immerse yourself into the world of Starfield. But that's all for me now though, guys. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Comment any videos you want to see in the future, and I'll see you all next time.